What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome to another episode. Today, I want to talk about what you can do if your business is struggling to grow to 100K per month. This will work in any business. I know that from personal experience. We've grown manufacturing, we've grown e-commerce, we've done a real estate private equity fund, we've grown media, works in all of those, and we've applied this to dozens of students at this point to their businesses as well. So here's what you got to do. 3 steps. Number 1, if you are not doing 100K per month, if you're somewhere in that 10K to 50K, if you're a coach, consultant, a service provider of some sort, the first thing that you need to do is increase awareness. You need to make more people aware that you exist. And you can do this in a number of ways. But the 3 that I want to suggest to you is, number 1, putting out more content. More content like this, what you're seeing here on YouTube or over on Instagram, doing a reel or going to LinkedIn and doing a short form piece of content there. You need to make more people aware that you exist. At the end of the day, the more people know you, the more that you can convert them into paying customers down the road. If nobody knows who you are, you can't help them. You can't save souls in an empty church. One of my favorite quotes from the late, great David Ogilvy, godfather of copywriting and just modern advertising, right? So we got to get people into the church. You got to make them aware. Now, if you are currently putting out content, and I'm going to assume that most of you watching this probably do have some kind of content generation machine behind your business. You're putting out organic content already, and it might not be working to the degree that you want it to. So the first thing that I would suggest is putting out more content. So increasing your cadence and your consistency. Like, first, the cadence. So maybe you're putting out 1 piece of content every week. What would happen if you increase that to 2, right? What if you increase that to 4 times? Would you get 4 times the visibility? Probably. What if you're currently doing 1 piece of content every day on Instagram? What if you were to increase that to 2 pieces of content? Like, you would get more visibility just from that. So just increasing the quantity that you're doing. The next is you can increase the consistency. I know plenty of creators and business people who they put out the content in these spurts or when the motivation strikes, and then they go through these lulls where nothing comes out, and then the algorithm kind of forgets who you are. So putting out on a consistent cadence, whether that is just 1 per day or 1 every other day or once per week, just staying with that cadence and doing it more consistently is going to pay some pretty massive dividends. Now, the next thing is, if you're doing content, you start doing more content, the next thing you got to do is do better content, right? How do we increase the quality of the content that you're putting out there? And this is really surprising to me, how there's a general lack of self-awareness when it comes to the quality of the content that people are putting out, and they're confused about why it's not working. But then if you take them and you sit down and you say, okay, well, let's look at your content and then compare it to your competitors' content or the content of the people that you consume, put them right side by side, and you say, okay, are these of equal quality? And they'll go, no, not even close. Okay, why? Well, they're better at presenting. They have better editing, blah, 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 right? And you're like, okay, why can't you have that, right? And in many cases, actually, the problem isn't the packaging. Like, that's the thing that I found really interesting, is that a lot of the students that we work with, when we first start working on their content, they think it's a packaging and polishing thing. Really what it is in a lot of cases is they're not studying what's working for others and then replicating that. They're doing shit that doesn't actually work for anybody. Like, if I was to do the same content that they're doing, it also wouldn't work. Like, they'll just take, let's say Instagram, for example. Like, they'll sit against a flat beige wall. They'll have a overhead light fluorescent. They'll shoot with the camera right here. They'll stare down here at themselves, not at the actual camera. There's going to be bad, elevator music playing. They're going to have shitty Instagram captions. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. And it's like, you don't need better, you don't need to have the snazzy editing team. You need to understand the principles of what makes for better content. Like, don't sit against a flat wall. Have some depth behind you. Have better lighting, right? Don't look at yourself in the camera. Look at the actual camera itself so that it looks like I'm making eye contact with you, not looking over there. If I look here at you, it's different than if I look right there. It's a very subtle difference, but when I'm looking here, I'm looking at the viewfinder, which Anuj doesn't actually have it pointed at me, because here's the other thing is, if you see yourself on camera, it's really hard not to look at yourself. But these are the little things that you can do to improve the quality, and it only occurs when you actually take the time to review and reflect and ask yourself, what areas could I improve? Now, Mr. Beast has this really famous piece of advice that he gives to people. He gets I'm going to guess thousands of people reaching out every week, millions reaching out every week, wanting to know how to crack the code on YouTube. And his advice is always the same. Go make 100 videos. On each one of those videos, aim to make just one thing better than the previous video. By the time you get to 100 videos, then come and ask me that question. And he says one of two things happens. Either one, people never come back because they never even get to 100 videos. Or two, by the time they get to 100 videos where they have incrementally improved every video that came before, then the one that came before, they don't need his advice anymore because now it's working. They've cracked the code. And so don't just mindlessly put out content hoping that it's going to do better if it's still shitty. Every single time you sit down to make a piece of content, ask yourself, how can I improve the hook? How can I improve the story? How can I improve the lessons? How can I improve the CTA? How can I improve the framing of the shot? How can I improve my articulation of the ideas? Every single time you sit down in front of a camera or to create a piece of content, you should be asking yourself, how can I make this even better? So that's step one, is you got to increase awareness, make more people aware that you exist. I prefer to do that through organic content, but you can also do that through paid advertising. So another way of increasing the awareness is just run more ads, increase your ad spend, put out more creative, more variables to test and see what sticks. Keep testing until you find the one that does, and then double, quadruple, quintuple down into it. Increase awareness, get more people in the top of the funnel. The second thing that you have to do if you want to scale to 100K per month, if you're not currently there, is you need to make more offers. Right? It's not enough just to make people aware that you exist. You actually have to ask them, hey, do you want this thing that I have that can help you? And a lot of people don't like to do that because it makes them feel salesy, makes them feel pushy. Here is the mental reframe I would suggest to you that's been very impactful for me, which is to understand that sales is the ultimate form of service. Because if you actually have the cure to somebody's cancer, if your product can actually improve somebody's life by solving a real problem that they have, then you owe it to them to do everything in your power to make them aware of that so that you can solve that problem for them so they no longer suffer from the thing that they're suffering from. It's actually selfish of you to not want to sell to them. Now, if you have a product that you don't stand behind, that you don't believe can actually get them to the results, then that's a different problem entirely, which is don't sell something that you don't believe in, right? The cost of selling something that you don't believe in is your soul. And that's priceless. So don't do it. Don't make that trade. Go make a product that can actually solve real problems for people, and then do everything that you can to get in front of them, make more offers. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can make more offers that I'll suggest to you here. Number one is, in the content that you're putting out there, you should skew towards 80% value additive, adding value to the audience with no request, no ask, nothing. But then the other 20% of the content should be an ask. It should be, hey, raise your hand if you would like XYZ thing. Like, hey, I'm taking on 5 new coaching clients this month. I got room. Let me know. Raise your hand down below in the comments, that type of thing, right? Like, get people aware that you have an offer that they might be interested in. Next thing that you could do is actually follow up with people that are following you on the social medias, right? If somebody likes you and follows you on Instagram, take the time to actually have a conversation with them. Shoot them a DM. This is what we call chat to close, right? Or chat to cash, sales by chat, like all these different names for the same idea, which is just be social and talk to the people who are following you on social media and see if there's a way that you can help. And then if there is, make the offer. Hey, does it make sense? Should we move forward and work together? I think we can help you solve that problem, right? Another one is, if you are running a real business, then you should have an email list. It's like the most valuable asset that your business has. You're trying to translate the eyeballs and the awareness that you generate on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube into eyeballs that you can actually reach out to on your terms. I don't control my YouTube audience. I can put out a piece of content, and if YouTube wants to feed it to you, then you will see it, maybe. But if I have your email address, I can send you an email and it will get to you. Now, it might land in your spam for different reasons, right? But it will get to you, and there's a high degree of likelihood that you're going to actually engage with that content. So our goal as a business owner is to capture those eyeballs and convert it into what we call owned media. That's an email list. But then the second thing is you actually have to email the people on your email list, which I know that sounds pretty straightforward, seems pretty obvious, and yet it's surprising to me how few people actually do this, how few people actually email their list on a consistent basis. They're like, oh, I don't want to annoy them. I don't want to come off as too salesy. I don't want them like blah, 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 blah. It's like, what's the point of having them on the email list if you never reach out to them? So what if they unfollow you? That's the same outcome as if you had never emailed them to begin with. So start emailing them more. How frequently? Well, I would suggest that you could probably get up to 1 email per day, if not more. Now, that might make you uncomfortable. I get that. So let's say once a week. Can you commit to once a week? How about twice a week? That seems pretty doable. I'm just saying, like, there's a direct correlation between the number of offers you make and how much money you make. Make more offers, you will make more money. That will get you to 100K per month much faster. The third thing that you got to do if you want to get to 100K is you need to reduce conversion friction. So the question you got to ask yourself right now is, what's your primary conversion mechanism? How is it that people give you money? And again, this seems really like straightforward and obvious, but do your clients or your prospects, do they know how to give you money? Do they know how to purchase what the thing is that you have? It's surprising that this needs to be said, but it does, because I've audited so many funnels and machines at this point, and it never ceases to amaze me how we take for granted how we think it's very clear and obvious what we want the prospect to do next in the funnel. Like, what's the next step? And then they get lost in the funnel because there's no clear next step. And you're like, how do I give you money? Like, how do I buy whatever product or service you have? Do I have to DM you? Do I have to get on your email list and then you pitch me there? Like, you only open the doors once a month, but how do I know that? Like, if you're only making people aware once a month that you only open the thing once a month, then what happens the other like 3 quarters of the month where it's like, I don't know how to work with you, right? Make it very clear to your prospects how they can work with you or when they can expect to work with you in the future. If that's going to be, hey, I only open the doors once a month to this thing, make it abundantly clear that that's the case, so that I'm not just looking around being like, I want to work with this guy, but I don't know what to do. Right? Nothing makes somebody more frustrated than feeling like an idiot. And I tell you what, like, if I go through your funnel and I can't figure out how to give you money, I feel like an idiot. Like, seems like it should be the most obvious thing in the world, but your goal should be to make it stupid simple and obvious for people to give you money. And honestly, like, the first step of that is just getting really clear with your team. What is our conversion mechanism? Like, what is the ideal way? You might have a bunch of different mechanisms in place. You might have a landing page to a checkout. You might have a VSL to a sales call. You might have like a DM to an offer doc, right? Like, there's all these different ways. I'm going to do another video here in actually just a couple minutes on those 3 conversion mechanisms. So if you want to learn more about how to implant those into your business, then hit subscribe and stay tuned, because that video will come out here in the next couple of days, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's all I got, guys. Increase awareness, make more offers, decrease conversion friction. You do those 3 things, you're going to be well on your way to 100K a month. Drop down in the comments, what did you take away? What'd you like? What'd you hear? What did you need most today? And I will see you in the next video.